Jason Williamson of Sleaford Mods is arguably the best articulator of the dark heart of the United Kingdom in the 21st century. His acerbic and acidic and quite oftenly darkly hilarious lyrics are a key part of the duo's attack. In the past few years, their unlikely success has been riveting. I phoned him up and asked him what culture is getting him through the lockdown. Okay, so this is John Robb here with Jason from Sleaford Mods, recording an interview for Lockdown for Underground Shoes. Oh, okay, Jason, so how's the lockdown been for you so far? Probably suffocating.
It's not been too bad, you know. It's not been too bad at all. I thought it'd be worse, but, you know, the kids are noisy, but you get used to that, obviously. But apart from that, we've got a little bit of a routine, and if we stick to it, everything's all right, you know. If we don't stick to it, then it just goes out the window. Nothing gets done.
Is there any positive bits? I mean, it must be good to spend more time with the kids.
Yeah, it is actually. It really is, because I spend a lot of time on the road, and it's like you only get to see them growing up in short bursts, not short bursts, but, you know, 3-month periods, and then you're away again, you know. So, I mean, obviously, I think, I don't know, this because we're at home all the time and they're not at school at nursery, so you do get to experience the full shebang, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I like the way you can hear them in the background.
I know, sorry, is it bothered?
No, I think it's great.
Okay.
It's, an interview should be a human situation, shouldn't it?
Yes, certainly should, yeah. Flora. Thank you.
Just start again. Are you a soft dad or a hard dad?
Mainly soft, but I can shout. I don't like to shout, you know what I mean?
Your tips and get through lockdown is have a bit of a discipline, a bit of a structure to your day.
Yeah, I think, and you're the same. You know, I like exercise, and obviously the gym's a big part of it, but can't go to the gym. So I've got a load of masking tape, and I've taped together a load of bricks. I've got a gym mat, and I just do a circuit around the garden. Do you know what I mean? That lasts for about an hour. If I stick to that and then go for a run, I mean, obviously we're allowed to go out for runs and walks. I do that every day. Have a day off in between four sessions. Back on it again. If I stick to that, I'm all right. You know, a lot of this for me is exercise, because if I don't exercise, I get grumpy. You know.
Yeah.
It's not good, is it? So,
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, so apart from that, it's getting up. We get up at the same time we would anyway. If it was like a weekday, you know, 7:30 in the morning. Get them up, get them fed, get them dressed, go out for a walk, get them exercised. Do you know what I mean? And so a lot of the battle with these two is just that you've got to get them out, because if you don't, they turn into absolute animals. You know what I mean? So yeah, just stuff like that. And obviously my wife, she manages the band now, Claire, so she's got a lot of work to do, trying to keep things afloat. It's a bit of a weird one now, because the industry just went into shock when this happened, but now people are starting to find their feet. Do you know what I mean? As you well know, and it's like it's just trying to get ways to keep ourselves busy online. We've got a release coming out with All That Glue next month, the kind of retrospective of what we've done so far musically. You know what I mean? So we're trying to obviously, you know, keep promoting that still. We can't go to America and tour, which was the idea. We were going to do Coachella as well, but that's kind of obviously out the window. So we're just trying to find ways of getting interest so we can sell some records, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, is a way you could actually, I mean, this is going to be long term, and I think a lot of people think June is going to be like VE Day, it's all going to be over, but this is going to be another year by looks of things. I mean, is there a way you can make Sleaford Mods kind of function in this kind of weird virtual world we're living in now? Like the way we're doing this interview, which is odd, but also in a weird way easier than having to go all the way to the Midlands to find you, to interview you. We could do like this. Is there a way you can actually function as the band?
Well, no, because we haven't. I'm thinking. I'm one of those idiots that are thinking possibly September everything will be back to normal. But you're most probably right. It probably won't be. So if we get the inclination that it's not, then I'm going to have to start learning some music programs if we then decide to record a new album, which we're looking at doing for next year. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, we need to gig to earn money, so we need a record to promote. You know, we can't just keep going out flogging the back catalogue. So, so yeah, if that comes on top, then I'm going to have to try and find ways of recording stuff here at home. You know what I mean?
You could even do online gigs. I mean, you could have you do the vocals in your front room, and Andrew's switching his computer on and off in his front room.
Yes, I mean, you know, I mean, stuff like Zoom, as we've just talked about, could prove useful in getting ideas formulated. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens.
So yeah, you got your structure, you're looking after the kids, but what the cultural things are getting you through this? Is it, you know, is it bits? I mean, I'm guessing music's gonna be quite important, and you finding.
Yeah, music. I mean, the recent tour of Australia we did, I was introduced to some artists over there that wouldn't normally get into, you know, stuff like Aldous Harding. I mean, obviously, Amel and the Sniffers are a little bit more up my street, but and the Chats, you know, kind of garage punk that normally I probably wouldn't look at, but you know, there's something in it, definitely. And Aldous Harding is obviously more acoustic based, sort of singer or songwriter type stuff, but yeah, I've been listening to stuff like that, and just you know, snatches of, you know, new drill releases, Low Ski. That's about it, really. Actually, just Low Ski. I've been listening to hip hop, West Side Gun, Conway the Machine. They're kind of starting to get somewhere in the US now. Just stuff like that, really. Do you know what I mean?
What are you getting out of Low Ski? What are you finding there? I mean, it's
really good. I like the way his delivery, you know, and he's it's just really it's I don't know how best can I explain it. I don't know. It's just a very good. It's quite a complex delivery that he's got, and you know, it varies from album to album, well, tune to tune, really, but you know, it just seems a little bit more rawer than a lot of stuff that I listen to. You know, it's talking more about kitchen sink than it is kind of bragging. You know, and I've got a lot of time for bravado rap in whatever, hip hop, drill, grime, whatever. But you know, sometimes it just wears a bit thin. You know what I mean?
Is it when you listen to music? I guess like everybody, you get into it for different reasons, you know. But do you find the delivery, the way a person delivers the vocals, the most important part, or the lyrical content, or is that?
I mean, yeah, I mean, a bit of both, really. Obviously, the music as well. I like more minimal stuff, and with drill, obviously, it's definitely more minimal. You know, grime is it can be a bit busy, which is a good thing. I don't know, you know, I'm no expert, do you know what I mean? But definitely, it's a bit more of a skeletal feel. Do you know what I mean?
Do you find when you listen to that music, it affects you as well, the way you do your delivery as well?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, you know, it does rub off on you a little bit, which I don't think is a bad thing. You know, I don't totally lift anything, and we're definitely not plagiarists. You know what I mean? So, so yeah, you know, I don't mind that. If it comes out, then I'm quite happy with that. Do you know what I mean?
Are you somebody who keeps looking for new music to listen to all the time?
A little bit, yeah. I've realised over the last few years that actually actively searching out new stuff. I mean, Spotify has been great for that, and I know there's a lot of issues with Spotify. They are, you know, it's looking like they just don't help people in a lot of respects. But it's a great platform for finding new stuff.
Great for a pub.
Yeah, you know, so
they pay you something, though, I suppose you could argue, even if it's not.
sorry.
At least they pay you something, even if it's not a lot.
Well, it's not a lot, is it? But what can you fucking do? You know, if the beast isn't going to turn, then you've got to learn to use it, haven't you? I suppose. You know what I mean?
And do you find in this time, in this lockdown time, do you find a lot of people kind of going back to listen to the kind of classic records they grew up with in an easier period of their lives? Are you finding that, or are you still in the same?
No, I tend not to touch them really. More specials I was listening to the other day again, brilliant. There's always something new in it you find, you know what I mean? But apart from that, no, I've not been listening. Oh, actually, On the Beach, Neil Young, the album. So that's quite good. Really, really interesting. I've actually been picking up my guitar again and trying to learn a few bits, which has been quite nice in the evenings. You know what I mean? But that's about it. They're the only two things I've gone back on, really. Apart from that, I'm just generally looking at new stuff.
Specials that, you know, like everybody knows that band that changed their life, the Alpha band, the Moments, the Crossroads band. Was that the band for you?
No, not really. You know, I mean, they were always in the background when I was a kid. You know, it was more about the jam. You know what I mean? And the specials were considered to be more associated with, you know, obviously two-tone ska and all that business, which was all right, but we were concentrating solely on the jam and Motown. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there were kind of tiers to it, and then after that, you know, I kind of forgot about them, and then it sort of came back. Do you know what I mean?
So what other cultural things came through? I mean, it could be anything, you know, it could all be music, it could be films, books, even going for a walk. I mean, it's...
Yeah, I mean, books. I've been reading a really good book that, without name dropping it, I think Jimmy from the Dove sent me it, and it's called The Privilege of Rain by a guy called David Swan. And it's just a collection of poems from inmates at Nottingham Prison. And I didn't read it for ages. And then he texted me and he's like, look, you know, have you read it? I said, no. And so I got on it, and really powerful. Really, really powerful. And it's interspersed with the writer's account, because he stayed in the prison for a few months or something. And he takes you through the code and conduct of prison. It's really bleak, to be honest, but at the same time really compelling, you know. So I've been reading that.
Is it poems from lots of different prisoners?
All different prisoners, and the poetry is grade A. It's absolute grade A. I thought it was the actual author that was doing it, but then it clicked, obviously, the inmates. But it's fucking grade A, John. It really is, you know. It really gets you.
Frustrating, all that great talent.
Sorry?
All that great talent that gets lost.
Bo. Yeah? Go on, sorry, John.
All that great talent that only can get dug out when somebody's actually stuck in prison.
This is the thing. You know, when people are presented with this kind of experience, you know, this oppression, this pain, and it can do, without trying to sound insensitive, it does wonderful things for the expression. Do you know what I mean? And you know, that's what really got me about.
Frustrating things about this country, that normal guys like that don't get the opportunity to write poetry.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly. And a lot of these poems are about remorse, about murdering women. And it's just like, it really struck me that, you know, a lot of these things are probably domestic, you know, but a lot of them were attacks against women. And I found that, you know, obviously unsettling, but interesting at the same time, you know.
Especially in context of the moment as well, because
exactly. So, it's a really good book. So yeah, I've been whiling away on that, and I've got loads of books upstairs that I'm going to be getting into. Do you know what I mean?
Just sort of pile up while you're on tour.
Yeah. So just stuff like that. Writing, I've not really done much writing.
You find it difficult, because you find it odd when your life is actually more full now because you're at home. You got like.
Yeah, I mean, I can write anywhere really. I don't need to experience stuff either, or, you know, necessarily have to go through a period of political conflict. I'm pretty much good with stuff, but at the minute it's just not coming really. There's odds and sods, but that's it, you know. And I think anything that we're going to be doing new in the future will be like the early days, where we just got together and just cooked it up in the studio, you know.
When you're writing like that, was it almost like you're entertaining each other?
Yeah, I mean, sorry, what was that?
It'd be like, you know, almost like there's no one else in the world, just the two in the room, and whatever beats Andrew comes up with, you're grooving on them, whatever
Yeah,
you're coming up with, he's kind of laughing at.
yeah.
Because
There will be a bit of that, but I think we're more conscious these days of honning good songs. We're kind of, and we're able to do that now. I think we're a lot better songwriters. So I'm more conscious of doing stuff like that than say just spitting out stuff that we've done in the past. You know what I mean? It's like it's fine having a narrative, but it's not satisfying for me to put that fresh narrative over an old model. Do you know what I mean? So it's important for us to still move on with the tunes.
that's a challenge, isn't it? Because it's a very minimalist sound.
Yeah,
You change as you go along.
yeah.
How many times you can change a very simple structure?
This is it, and it's always a little bit nail biting when we go back into doing other albums. So it's against all, there's a lot of other things going against us now, obviously with coronavirus, and the lockdown and all this weirdness. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, so are you watching much TV or films?
Films, Frozen 2, yeah, the kids are banging to that, and I've actually just sat there and watched it with them every time we watch it, because it's quite good. It's quite good. I quite like the songs in it, actually, and it's nice having your mind taken off the adult life. Do you know what I mean? And just to jump into a child's imagination. Do you know what I mean? For a while. So yeah, that and obvious stuff like Ozark, Narcos on Netflix, anything like that, really.
So like sort of box sets, places to just get completely lost in.
Yeah, I mean, films. If I was on my own, I would be going through all manner of film, but obviously I've got to compromise because my tastes aren't exactly appreciated by the household a lot of the time.
Have you been a bit of a news hound as well, or you?
No, I've stayed away from it. It's pretty hard to avoid when you're listening to the radio in the morning. But if it comes on, I just turn it down and then obviously turn it back up when I think it's finished. It's got nothing new. It's got nothing good to say, which is really annoying because, all right, there are a lot of bad things going on, but there's a lot of good things going on as well, And it just creates fear every day. The older I get, it's all it is. It's just a fear machine, You're not really learning anything from it. If you want to get any constructive, sort of decent information, just read the article, in one of the better papers. You know what I mean? But apart from that, I'm not looking at it now.
You seek out more positive stories if you're going to do.
Yeah, and you can get better information really from reading books. You know what I mean? Let's face it. I'd rather do that. I'd rather read a book, written by someone that understands the sociological ills of this country far better than whatever they're putting out on the news.
Okay, that's great, Jason. That's the stuff I'll need for the interview.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, how's your mum and dad? All right?
Yeah, I think they're all right. Yeah, and what I've been thinking, because they're war babies.
Yeah,
they're kind of used to a little bit of this, aren't they? In a lot of ways. It's kind of like when they were kids, I reckon, sort of 52, 53, 54, when they were like 6 or 7 years old, you were still coming out of the shadow of World War II, weren't you? And so, I mean, when did rationing start?
In the mid-50s.
Yeah, so, you've got all that. And I think, in a way, even though they're not aware of it, I think they're kind of subconsciously prepared for it. It's not bothering them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the only thing that's putting the chills up in these days is Rupert Murdoch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they are very open to that kind of shit. Which is disappointing. But yeah, I found that when I speak to them, that they're just not that bothered.
I met